is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Spoil Me, covering One Piece episodes 449 through 451. Magellan's tricky move, a foiled escape plan. The escapee team in trouble, the forbidden move, Venom Demon. And come, final miracle, break through the gate of justice. In these episodes, I think I accidentally talked about episode 449 last episode, which is the second time that I fucked it up. Sorry about that, guys. But then we have a really heart-wrenching goodbye from Mr. 2, and I am so sad about it. Welcome to Spoil Me. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
Yay, and I'm Florian. Hello.
Hey, Florian is here. After a few failed attempts, we have gotten it working.
Yes.
Yay.
We love technology.
Oh, man. It's such a miracle. And when it works, it's amazing. And when it doesn't work, you feel like it's personal.
Yes.
You know?
You feel like really offended.
Yeah. All right, so you know what I have to ask you off the top. Why did you choose these episodes to do a wannabe episode for?
Well, yeah, the MVP, Mr. 2, Bon Clay, honestly, I have to pay my respects.
Oh my god. I love him so. Do you guys know how gratified I am by his character arc? I really thought that the whole thing with Alabasta, that was it. I hadn't yet understood back then the trope with a long running anime that characters come back all the time. So now that I'm beginning to understand that, even though I'll be sad to say goodbye to somebody, it is in the back of my mind, maybe we will see them again. But at the time, with, the way he gave himself up, I was just like, that is a really great end for that character, but I'm so sad that we only just became friends and he's gone. And then this episode, I had this arc full of Bon Clay, so great. And then he sacrifices again. And I was just like, I just want him to be with our friends and be happy and not have to keep doing this all the time. And I love him and I admire him and I respect him. But also, wasn't there another way? There wasn't. But I'm really sad.
Yes, that's really the sad part about it.
Oh my god.
Speaking of your coverage before, I started again listening to from the beginning, to be honest.
Oh my god, really?
Yes.
Wow.
You just entered the Grand Line now. Meeting Laboon and Vivi and everybody there for the first time. And what I found really funny, when you talked about Buggy one point, you were like, I just want them to have, not team up, but have an enemy frenemy kind of thing going on, you straight up said it.
I don't remember that. That's fun.
And he was like, yeah. I mean, back then I already knew that it would come true, but now you know it as well, so.
Yay! That's something that I really like about the live action is, because they have to have certain characters, the actors are on contract to show up a certain number of times. You can't just have somebody on and off again the way you can in the anime. So they have had to make Buggy a recurring character in a way that he wasn't for that arc. And I really, really like it. It's fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, just my 2 cents to the live action. I loved it. I think it's great. And I think it brings a whole new audience to One Piece as well.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of YouTube reactions and stuff like that of people who have never watched it or anything. And a lot of them also started in the anime. And I mean, I feel like that's what they wanted. So good.
Yeah, that's true too. And like, I feel like it's a good entry. Like, I have friends that tried to watch the anime and they really couldn't get into it because of the slow pacing and everything. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the show is able to tighten things up so much that they still get to be part of a fandom with it and know the characters really well because they're very true to the characters. Mm-hmm. But they get a viewing experience that aligns more with what they were hoping for with the, so it sort of works out. It's like you can't just do the live action and you're not getting the full effect of everything else, but it's early days yet. Like, I wonder how long they'll be able to keep this show going.
I mean, fingers crossed. I mean, I just hope the best for this project.
Same.
But we will see, because the longer it goes on, the more difficult it could get. But yeah.
So did you listen to my last recording? Because Magellan's tricky escape move, a foiled escape plan, episode 449. Mm-hmm. I could swear I talked about, and I didn't go back and like re-listen because I was re-watching right before recording with you, and it was then that I was like, hold on a second. So I didn't have time. But apologies to anybody listening who is like, bitch, don't you recall that you did this? I kind of recall. I think I may have. And super, super sorry about it. I hate fucking that up. It's really tough, though, because the number of episodes changes every time. And I will look at the spreadsheet, and sometimes I will just register 3 episodes today, and I won't look specifically at the numbers. And I'm wondering if I looked at like one particular day that it was supposed to be just 2 and transposed the following day and was like, oh, it's 3 today, and then wound up ahead of myself. So sorry everybody about that. And it's a really good episode. I really enjoyed this first of the 3. But
no, but wait, just to be clear, which episodes did you watch for this now?
Let's see. Sorry, let me go back and make sure. Let's see. It said 449, 450, and 451. That's what it said on my spreadsheet, I'm pretty sure. Am I wrong?
Did it?
Hold on.
Because I feel like you
Did I short it or something?
But then you did short it, I feel like.
Hold on.
Which would not be too...
I did short it! Oh my god! Florian!
Yes!
Oh my god, I didn't watch 452!
Oh my god!
I fucked it up in a different way than I even thought!
It's fine.
Oh my god.
I mean, I'm honestly mainly here for the one in the middle. So like the 451. So the last one that you watched basically for you.
I'm so sorry.
No,
yeah, embarrassing. I kept thinking, that's so weird. Oh my god, how did I miss this? Y'all. I thought I was doing real well today too. I watched these 3 episodes twice. I not only fucked it up one time, I fucked it up twice, Florian. Oh my god. I'm such a goon.
No. I mean, maybe a little bit. But
yeah.
No. But no, honestly, I mean, I will not tell you what happens in the third of these episodes, but it's not like the reason. It would, For me, it truly is like the whole Clay stuff. So
okay.
That's still in there.
Well, that's something.
Well, then maybe we have a little bit more time to talk about the character that I really like to love in this arc, and that's actually Mr. Free.
Okay.
Because I don't know, like the first time he showed up, I was like not really interested in him. I found him to be like kind of boring. And honestly, when it's the kind of thing when you go back and kind of would compare, it's not like that he's a totally different character, but he was way more serious and even darker, and this time
I remember being genuinely intimidated by him when he first showed up.
Yeah. And so in here he's way more comedy heavy in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I just love that, and I just love that he kind of had his moment helping against Magellan.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love this whole world, this magic system that Oda created, where you have this one super strong power, like Magellan has, and then you have, but maybe just you need the right counter to that, you need the one right power to counteract that. And I find that really fascinating. And we have seen it before with Enel and Luffy, where Enel was electricity and...
Oh, right, Enel. Because isn't he called something different in the dub? I think...
Eneru?
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Eneru.
So every time you guys say that, I'm always just who? For a second, but got it.
Yeah, but basically this principle of... Yeah, basically it's like a Pokemon thing, where water beats fire. And
yes,
I just find that super satisfying in a way. So
totally agree.
So shout outs to Mr. Free. I'm not saying that he's the best, but I find him pretty good in this one,
What I like about the 449 is the one where he puts the wall up and unexpectedly is able to stop the huge tide of poison Magellan is sending. But in that scene, there's a moment where Crocodile is he says something really harsh. He says something like, I guess that piece of garbage was worth something after all, or made himself useful. He's really mean. And because the whole way things ended with Crocodile was him literally feeding Mr. 3 to... What were those creatures called?
Banana gators.
Oh my god, I fucking forgot. Oh my god, I forgot that there's a little banana. What is that? Oh my god. Hold on, I gotta look these up again. I gotta see these again. Banana gators 1 What? Why? Where did he come up with this idea? I'm so sorry I got so distracted, you guys.
It's okay. Well, if you're already there, maybe you you find these little ones also really funny, the messenger salamanders, or they were little reptiles that sprinted through the desert, and they had a bow tie and brought messengers. And
oh my god, I forgot about those guys, the bow ties and stuff. And they had those legs that
yes
that come out like windmill. Oh my god. This whole series has some really unparalleled creature design sometimes. Sometimes it's a fucking horrible fever dream, and I'm going, I don't want to look at it. I hate it. And sometimes it's so whimsical, but it feels like a different series. Oh my god, the Banana Gator. Guys, I'm just looking at all these pictures now, and I had forgotten, and it is... I had forgotten that the bananas are basically the same color as the rest of their skin, so it just looks like there's a banana lodged under their skin, which is such a weird choice. I don't think it's less weird than making the banana on their head an actual banana color. That would be just as weird, but it's just unexpected. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted. Okay, let me close this window. I gotta stop. But anyway, what I was saying was that Mr. 3's, been literally, somebody was like, you suck so bad at your job, I would rather you be dead. And then he gets thrown in prison, which I don't think we've gotten any stories about how they all wind up here, do we? How each of them got?
Not really. I feel like I know there is like a cover story of this, like a side story.
Okay.
I don't know if we ever sent it to you.
I was, I was going to ask if it was something that ever happens in the series. Like, do we ever get this? It's not, I don't need it. Mm-hmm. Just to be clear, I'm not over here like, I can't believe they haven't told us. It's fine. But, I wouldn't be averse to it either. I think it would be better to have it be like the backstories of maybe 3 characters in like one episode instead of them each getting their own backstory episode. And just kind of quickly go through that.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, there's a sense for me when you talking about how Mr. 3 used to be more serious than he is here, and he feels a little bit more. He feels more silly, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I really am sort of putting that down to the fact that he fucked up so badly that he's lost a lot of self-confidence and just doesn't take himself as seriously anymore because he thought he was a badass and then turned out to be a fuck up. And he has really, some people, they think they're a badass and they're a fuck up. And even so, they don't recognize that they're a fuck up and they continue to have the same level of confidence, even though they should not. But Mr. 3, I'm going to say that his confidence took a real hit. And so he is like just finally starting to establish, like, maybe I can do some things right after all. So I'm going to see this as a redemption of his self-confidence, which I don't really want because he's a bad man.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Fair. Yeah, so, okay. I don't know where to start then, because, I mean, the last episode you already talked about it.
Yeah, so we don't have to do that. We'll start with 450. No. The escapee team. So this, we pretty much, like, the way the last episode had, this was something that I was particularly caught up by, was the fact that these guys are launched onto one of the Navy ships, and it's Crocodile, Mr. 1. What is Mr. 1's name?
Das Bones.
Oh my god, that's right, because I always find that amazing.
Mm.
Das Bones. What a fucking name. That's really good. I like it. He doesn't deserve it. He's not interesting enough.
No. Yeah.
What is Mr. 3's real name?
Oh, I feel like it's like Galdino or Gandino.
It's something with a G, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But honestly, he for me, like Mr. 1 and Mr. 3 will always be Mr. 1 and Mr. 3 to me personally.
Okay.
Like Bon Clay is Bon-chan or Bon Clay for me mostly. Sometimes Mr. 2.
Yeah, I am locked into Mr. 2, but I don't want to be because I like him too much to keep associating him with the Baroque works. So I want to break out of it. But Mr. 3 and Mr. 1 can stay Mr. 3 and Mr. 1 because I don't care about either of them enough. It's fine.
And I mean, as long as he doesn't change his hair, there will always be a 3. So
that was another thing. Yeah, that he's like labeled basically.
Yes. I mean, he could change his hair. It's not like a tattoo or something, but I guess.
I like to think that he can't. He was born that way.
Maybe.
So yeah, the last episode had like ended with Jinbei launching them out, and then when I saw that like only Crocodile and Mr. 1 were standing, I was sort of like, what's going on? Because it turns out like the launching, the action of it, Buggy gets injured in that action. So he's like crumpled up somewhere else on the deck for a lot of this.
Well, is he injured? Like, I mean, is he injured or injured? And you cannot see my quotation marks, I think, right?
Oh yeah, for people listening, we finally got the sound working, but Florian cannot get his camera to work. So I cannot see his facial expressions. But it's like I saw a quick flash of what I thought was Buggy, like crumpled and unconscious, and I thought that was him on the deck of the ship. But I misunderstood what that was supposed to be.
I mean, it is. I think it is supposed to be that, but still, is he on purpose, like being like, "Oh no, I'm knocked out. I'm sorry."
Got you. I am down for that interpretation also. And
but
we sort of just get a refresh of them being launched and how that's all going, and then we go back into the prison and we meet up with Eva, and he is waking up. I'm so relieved. Like, I knew that the show doesn't kill anybody, so I know Eva's not. But I thought that maybe they had just been taken out of the equation for the moment. And I really did not want that. I enjoy him way too much. And I was glad that he's still not okay by the end of this, a couple of episodes, but he is able to get on his feet and join us again. And that was the main thing for me.
Yeah. No, like Eva is... Again, Eva for me is like a great character.
Agree.
Again, we could say like if you see something problematic there, I understand, like if like with his whole power and how it works. But at the end of the day, like the character itself is just like a good guy and just great.
Yeah, it's I really wasn't taking the whole storyline as being in good faith at all at first, because like Bon Clay felt like the punchline in the Alabasta arc to me, like he felt like a joke. And even though Iva and Bon Clay are played for humor in this arc, it doesn't feel like the jokes are at their expense. It feels like they're part of the joke instead. It's got a different energy to it to me.
Absolutely.
I
mean, and I just love that you are like just so here for it. For you were like, yes, like these people in like gender mixed and have like fishnets on and are like fucking up these guards and everything. And I was like, yeah, actually, I love this too. Like you put it in words for me. I was like, oh yes, that's it. That's like.
Well, good. It. Delighted.
I always had to think like, like this meme where it's like, and this is the future liberals want, or like that's what they want your kids to turn into and stuff like that. And I was like, well, would it be the worst?
Yeah, this is they always are just like, it comes down to don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah.
You guys are acting like this is the end of the world. It sounds fun. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe that's supposed to be the terrible thing, but not for me.
And I feel like is it then that we get Magellan's upgrade, or is it, I feel like
it's like a little bit further on in this episode, because at first he's just doing the Hydra thing again. And Luffy's, we are still going with his like wax armor. They keep calling it armor, even though it's not covering his body. So I keep forgetting the word because it doesn't feel like armor to me. But I get that it's just meant to be protecting his hands and stuff. But yeah, eventually Magellan basically takes a bunch of hits off of Luffy and is like unhurt ultimately, but fucking irritated. So he gets like knocked most of the way across the room, and at that point just basically cracks his knuckles and is like, okay, you know what? Enough with this horse shit. And he goes into Venom Dragon. Is that what it's called? Demon.
Demon.
Venom Demon.
Yes. And this is, I don't know, do you know the difference between venom and poison? because before all his attacks were poison, but now it's venom.
I guess I never, I assumed that poison had to be ingested and that venom is something produced by a body. Like venom is an excretion, but poison can be a chemical creation. I guess that's how I always thought of it. But what is supposed to be the difference here?
It's just a definition, but the definition is basically that venom is always supposed to, it's used in an attack. So a bee sting is a venom, what's it called? A snake bite can be venomous, but a plant that you eat, that's just poisonous.
Right.
It is not necessarily, attacking you. It's not meant for that. It's just like that maybe we human cannot digest it and it's poisonous to us. But the venom is actually made for attacking and paralyzing and whatever. So I always find it neat that like his final attack basically is kind of, no, I will use the thing that is kind of actually meant to, like it's made for destruction. While before it was kind of like a side effect, like he didn't use it like that. But I don't know. I just like the distinction.
I didn't think about that. And I'm kind of glad that you brought that up because I was sort of, thinking to myself, like, is this it's clearly more badass than his other attacks because of the sheer size of the creature that he makes out of it. But I was sort of like, I don't really get what's supposed to be more threatening about this. So I like that as an explanation. And I will say too that when he makes the demon, first of all, it takes so long for the anime to like finish that animation. But once he's done, Luffy is staring up at him in like real horror. And I liked that because Luffy has been unwilling or unable to really see Magellan as like a genuine threat that he can't overcome. Even though he got his ass handed to him, he was still like, I could probably beat him. And I really liked that finally there came a point where it was like, this is even too much for me. I needed Luffy to be scared because this whole time he has been angry. He has been overwhelmed. He has been frustrated. He has fought even if it feels like he can't win because there isn't another choice and he has to keep pressing forward. But he has never really felt scared throughout this arc to me. He's just his focus and determination have overrode his fear pretty much every time.
Yeah, so, that was what I was gonna say. Probably the overriding basically.
Yeah, he doesn't like give himself the time to think about it because he's just like, I have shit to do. So this moment of like just being, oh my God, he's huge. And then he literally turns and runs with all the other guys, which he hasn't done. Every other time these dudes have run and he has stayed put. And so I don't know. I just kind of liked that moment of like him being, okay, you know what? Now I think I'm going to go. I was like, finally, we needed something that felt like a real threat to him,
Absolutely. And I feel like this is like I cannot make any promises, but not the first time, but the second time that Luffy wanted to run instead of fighting. I feel like I feel like the first time was on Sabaody, like because Luffy was there, like we have to get away from here, guys.
Okay, I thought you meant like in the in this arc, but you just mean like in the show. Okay. Yeah,
in the show. And like this is like the second time where I feel like he is like, we have to leave. Like normally he's like, no, I will like beat this bastard into the ground. But he comes up against foes that are like super badass, and sometimes it's not worth the fight,
Yeah. So at this point, Magellan is just like chasing after them, and it's sort of interesting. I think that it's supposed to be that he's like floating in the venom and it's carrying him. I know I've already said this, but I really hate the fact that he can use the poison and venom to travel on. That it can like he made the hydras into slides and like just slid along them to reach Luffy at one point. It's so mean-spirited that he's like able to become these huge things that you can't even touch. And also he can, it's not like it's saying that he can basically teleport is an exaggeration, but it's not that far off. It's very, very easy for him to get to one place from another. And it's just, he's so overpowered with this. Oh my God. And really, like, he is so overpowered that the only way of dealing with him is to literally run away. Like, there's no point in this couple of episodes where they figure out how to defeat Magellan. It's just that we got away before he could grab us, you know? So I kind of like that as well. That
absolutely.
There was no like solution. It was just get the fuck out as soon as we can.
Yeah, because even I gave Mr. Free his props before, and this is not something, it's not his fault. But basically when Magellan upgrades, even Mr. Free's technique can, I mean, they have like a temporary protection, but it's short-lived. Yeah. And it is like really, I feel like Magellan is one of the stronger villains that we have had. Like, definitely. Just
100%.
And
not even being able to touch him, like, ouch.
I mean, that's the funny thing. You could basically not touch Smoker, but Smoker would not hurt you. With Magellan, is like you cannot touch him, but you at the same time get hurt. You know, like it's even worse than just not being able to touch.
I always forget about Smoker. Yeah. I'm really excited to see who they cast for him in the live action.
I think they have actually announced the casting for him, but then he didn't show up in the in the actual series, so I don't know.
Oh, really?
Maybe they cut him out like at the end. I also heard that actually the character of Dragon was also cast.
Oh.
But there was like no scene with him in the first season, so I don't know if they have. I don't know. Probably they cut it out because you have to. Cut it, or I don't know.
Yeah, because they show Smoker at the end, but his back is to the camera, so I assumed that it was like, we're letting you know this character is coming, but we haven't chosen an actor yet, so we're just doing that hint like Marvel did with Thanos, although they do show his face, and he just had a complete redesign by the time they dropped the movie. But anyway, okay, so they're running. There's this like moment here, and I didn't notice this. There's somebody in the crew of prisoners breaking out that's super tall, and he's holding the door open so that they can all get outside. I don't remember this guy, but it's just all of these ordinarily like tall dudes, like regular height, and this dude who's like the average man is coming up to maybe his thigh, and then there's Mr. 2 pirouetting, and he is almost as tall as this giant man just because he's pirouetting, and I just love that so much. But yeah, they're running outside, and at this point they still don't know there isn't a ship out there. They're running out with the full expectation that they're going to be able to like fight and get their way onto a ship, and they'll be able to get out of here. And meanwhile, we have Mr. 2 who is encouraging them to get outside and is not following them, and is watching down the hall because like Luffy, he's worried that maybe Magellan has gotten him after all. Meanwhile, Jinbei is in the water, and I love this so much. He is like helping out Crocodile and Mr. One. Because Crocodile's Mr. Zero, basically, right?
Yes.
He kind of misjudges his aim at one point and like takes a chunk out of the ship, which I did find very funny because he's just like, sorry, I'm very strong in the water. My bad.
Can I just say, I mean, we can talk about it later as well, but Jinbei is just great. Like, delightful. I just like him a lot. Again, one of the characters that I slept on first, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it was not like that I disliked him, but in a rewatch, I was just like, oh my god, he's like doing a lot, and he's like he's not here to play. Like, you know?
Yep.
And I don't know why first time watching it, this didn't sunk in for me, but yeah, no, by now I'm just a total stan.
I can understand that though, because like he doesn't have a whole lot of personality, and I don't mean that in terms of like that he's a boring character exactly. It's just that he is very understated, and he does what he does, and he doesn't talk a big game about it, and he doesn't quip, and he's not out here joking around. He is zeroed in on what he needs to do, and he does it. And when you're surrounded by all of these other larger than life personalities on these other characters, it's easy to sort of lose sight of him as being clutch.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand that. But I mean, like, even for me, when he first shows up and he's just chatting with Ace in the cell, I definitely had a moment of just like, oh, who is this guy?
You know, fair, no. Like... it's fair. And I just, with Jinbei, he is, I mean, I think you figured this out, but they mentioned it in the live action, and there was like an early thing in, like, very early on in the anime, like with Nami stories, but Jinbei was mentioned there already. Like, apparently he has some kind of connection to Arlong. And yeah.
That makes sense.
That's all I'm going to say about that, because
it's very racist. I'm going, all fishermen must know each other.
Yeah, they must know each other. But I mean, I'm just saying this because it has been said before, but there's a long time between this. And yeah, I'm just excited to hear what you think about his character in the future as well.
Yeah, and here he not only does he like do his fishman karate, which is hella powerful, but later on he winds up summoning a bunch of bull sharks, adorable, smiley bull sharks. It was so cute, you guys. So yeah, he's extremely valuable.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. You guys, I forgot that. I'm so sorry, but Mr. One is on the deck, and his arm turns into a knife, and one of the guys just says, "Did his arm just turn into a knife? What's up with this guy?" The question we are all asking. Absolutely.
And not to bring us too far off track, but I'm always like, okay, you know, like, they have like probably all bounties on their head, you know? But I don't know, like, if you're in a world like this where powers like these exist, do you remember or know the power of everybody? I mean, it's kind of like a secret if they're not caught, but I feel like as soon as they get caught, then probably you know. But then again, they're probably like the prison was full of people, so how can you remember every power that every person has in there? You know, like,
yeah. I think one guy eventually is like, oh, I remember this guy. He's Das Bones from the West Blue. So there is a guy in the crowd who knows who he is. But I could imagine it just being like, I mean, how many singers are there out there that I don't know them? And they're super famous, you know, like there'd be other folks out there who, if they heard the name, would be like, oh, that guy did such and such. I do not know. So maybe it's just a matter of interest. Like these guards are like, I just want to go home and check out for the day. I don't need to be, you know, going through my, my big bads of the Grand Line booklet, memorizing everything. I'm willing to accept that.
Yeah, probably. And yeah, the one thing, I feel like this is where, coming back to the prison, like Luffy shows up, the Magellan on the tail, and they kind of make like a last stand.
Yeah.
But before that, Eva shows up. Just bursting through the through the ceiling and through the floor, depending on which standpoint you want to take. But bursting through the floor.
And Eva is just like out of it. Like he's like, "Hey guys, so good to see you. Time for a nap." And everybody's like, "No, it's not. Hey, bud, wake up." He is not waking up, ladies and gentlemen. He is out. And I think at this point is when Jinbei gets in touch with Luffy and is telling him, when you get outside, you have got to go straight into the water. And Luffy is like, are you high? We are in the calm belt, which is full of sea kings. Absolutely fucking not. It's really funny because like, they're always for the way the show works, there's always got to be some like regular random dude who is in the background yelling about something, and he has to be upset that something isn't going according to plan or it doesn't seem like it's going to work. So no matter what's happening, you hear somebody be like, "That's crazy. We're all going to die." And then they change the plan and they do something. And then as soon as they've completed that, there's another obstacle. "We can't do this. Oh my God, we're all going to die." And it's just over and over. And it's not a flaw. Like, I am not mad at that, but it is really funny that I imagine there being just one dude who's always whining. And everybody is like, "Fucking shut up, Steve. We have got every 5 minutes. You're like, we're going to die. And then we're here. We're not. It's fine. You have got to stop panicking every second." So anytime you hear that, guys, just know that that's Steve and everybody hates him. That's my headcanon now.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair. And I love it. No, it's just like, I mean, I get it from like a storytelling perspective, you know, like you're like, okay, your main cast cannot be afraid all the time, except Usopp, but shade on the side. But no, like you need people to say this is crazy, and honestly, it is. You know, like even though we as audience know this is a show, if you're there and somebody's like, "This is crazy," I get it, but at the same time, yes, shut up, Steve.
Yes. Yeah, like you have to demonstrate that what these people are being asked to do seems crazy to them and that they aren't going to simply obey without question. And I get needing to like get that across, but also everything they are expected to do always is crazy. So I am so prepared to just be like, okay, sure, fine, do that. That whenever they start to dig their heels in, I'm just like, okay, look, can we all just get to the part where you agree to do it anyway? Okay, good. There we are.
And then we get like the final attack from Luffy and Mr. Free against Magellan. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the animation in this part goes kind of wild. Like it isn't just like 30 seconds or like 1 minute, but it is actually more intensely animated than the rest.
I didn't really notice that. Are you looking at the the show right now? Like on your, like, do you have it up?
Wait, I have it open. So
okay, because I just wanted to ask you for
it's
a
51, right?
Yes. Wait. 50. Oh, I'm still in 50.
50. Okay.
You may be.
Yeah, it is. Yes, no. I have not clicked it at all. So
okay.
I have it open, but I have not like clicked anything. So probably it was just the episode from before. But I have not opened it in the spot right now.
Okay, that's fine. I was just going to ask so that I could go over there because I don't remember that being. So let me see. He says one candle wall coming right up, and then we have the wax billowing out. That wax does look crazy, actually. I didn't really notice it. They're doing a lot of movement when the animators definitely do their best to try and like avoid a lot of like the screen will just sort of have a still figure moving across a still background if they can get away with it a lot. So yeah, this is a much more intensely. I see what you're saying. Oh my God.
It's like
this giant kick.
Yeah, for me it's like 1930. It starts around there, and then like probably a minute, like to 20:30, something around there.
Yeah. Yep. I'm seeing it.
For me, at least.
Yeah,
but I just
go ahead.
I just loved it. I just loved that animation, and again, it's just like Mr. Free gets this, and I'm just like, okay, like it's cool. You're cool somehow. For me. Like I don't want to.
Grudging.
I really am because I don't know. I don't really like him, but I don't know.
That's fine. That's fine. Like sometimes people just hate you like that, and it's like, I guess.
Yeah, you have a cool moment. You said something good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Magellan, gets pushed back, and how do I say that? I did not think this would take him out, but actually it does not. It buys them time, which is good and necessary, But still, he is still up and running, he's coming after them, and everybody jumps on Eva, and they sail away, sail away. No,
fly
away, fly away.
I thought you were doing the Enya song.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Oh my, and like Eva's the anime again. I forget sometimes, like because this is really the only cartoon that I'm consistently watching, and a lot of the other animated stuff I watch doesn't stick to the regular conventions of cartoons the way that this show does sometimes. So like Eva's head blasts through the wall and door, and so he's got these huge lumps on his head that are meant to represent the injury of bashing his head. And you guys, I cannot tell you how often this show does that, which is I remember it being done in like Looney Tunes, I know it's a thing, but I forget it's a thing. And I am always like, what the fuck is that? Every time I see it, I'm horrified. Because it's not only the lump, it's always got little speckles on it to indicate that there's like hairs. I hate it. I hate it so much. Ugh. And we see it for so long because Eva's head is flying through the air for a minute and everybody is just up in his hair. So there's a long period there where I just kept being like, what is that? And then I finally realized what it was that they were doing. And I really love this moment because Eva's like uses his big wink to shoot himself out, and he is able to shoot out at like the velocity of a jet taking off, which you would think would be plenty, but Magellan's got that huge demon like shape going on. So he reaches out with one venom hand and it's close. Like he really very nearly grips him up. And it was it was just a lot closer than I was expecting. I didn't think that Magellan had the reach that he clearly does. And I love the fact that like once they're out, Magellan is just standing there like horrified.
Yeah, no, I love this whole sequence. Like, like basically from the moment they turn the corner and like running away from him and what, we have to get in the water? Okay, giant wax wall, attack, go on Eva, fly out, the head comes after them. And
yep.
Like, great. Like, from beginning to end, great. I love it. And yeah, they land on these giant, what did you call them?
The bull sharks?
Fish? Bull sharks? Okay,
yeah.
Good. I don't
That's
know
what they say in the dub.
Okay, good. And yeah, they just basically get chucked over to the ship. They're like, it's like a, what's it called? A bucket chain, it feels like where you put a fire out, you give one bucket to the next person.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Until they land on the ship, like crash almost into the ship.
Really crash. Like, yeah, it's quite a flight.
Mm.
So, all right, now we're moving into 451.
Mm-hmm.
So, come final miracle, and this is Bon Clay's sacrifice that we get coming up here.
Can we? Okay, I honestly want to talk about this, but my first question is just like, when did you know this? Or did you know that the episode before you were like, he's not really around? Or like, when was the moment that you...
I'm going to be honest with you here. So, this show can have sort of strange transitions.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did I not notice that Bon Clay was around, but I also, when it's very clear, like if you're really paying attention, that there are two Magellans, I was still not getting it. It wasn't until they were in the same room. Mm-hmm. Because there's a point where Magellan's looking out there and then sees the like gates opening and is like, what the fuck is going on? And then it cuts to Magellan in the control room. And I thought we just had like an abrupt transition and that he had gone back to the control room. And even though he was saying like, open the gate, I was sort of confused. Like, wait, maybe I misunderstood. I thought he didn't want this, but now he's ordering them to do it. And I was completely not picking it up. And then he comes in and I was like, oh my God. Okay. So yeah, I was not clocking what was going on at all. Your girl's brain was turned off.
Hey, no, this is honestly my experience as well.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No, like honestly, the moment I see them both in the same frame or like in the same, that was the moment where I was like, oh, there are two.
Mm-hmm,
wait, that means, oh no. No. Like, yep. I was like my brain was like, after that, my brain was like, then it made like all these connections. But before that, it was nothing for me. It was, so this surprise worked for me.
I kind of wish that there was, a map again, because they don't do it at the top of this episode, but I do kind of wish that there were something that sort of reinforced the idea that Bon Clay absolutely couldn't get out in time to catch up with them. Because for a minute, I just thought he's like buying them some time, but he's going to be able to like sprint out there. And it wasn't until things really started to like, you know, be spoken when they are talking to each other that I realized, oh my God, wait, he is straight up staying here. And I fully believe Bon Clay will survive. But if we're being real, Magellan would have killed his ass immediately. That would be a wrap on Bon Clay. And even though, because of the way the story has to work, I have full confidence that he actually is okay, I still felt like sick. I felt so upset that he was just, there's a point where the camera sort of pulls out and he's just kneeling on the floor in profile in front of Magellan, like as himself again. And I just got very pissy about it. I was just like, even though he may survive, I'm sure he's going to be put through it.
Absolutely.
You know, and I just hate that for him.
Like, this is not a fun place. And I mean, we have seen the horrors of this place, even though we have kind of, as always, we do see it through Luffy's lens, and he's just like a really comedic character. But still, this is a horrible place, like through and through. And even if he does not get killed, he for sure will stay here. And that's also no good. Like,
yeah, I don't want him anywhere near this. I hate it. Absolutely. He just deserves better.
Absolutely. No, like, as I said again, like, he is the MVP of this arc. Like, sure. I don't, it's super weird. I don't use that term at all. Like, I'm just, because first of all, this is a English saying, so that's one thing, and the other thing, it is like a sports saying, so that's the second thing why I don't really use it. However, I don't know how otherwise to describe it. You know, it's just like, this was, I mean, later on we see like a flashback, and for One Piece standards, it's done pretty quick, but we see like a lot of moments with Bon Clay and how he was crucial to Luffy's success in all of this. And it truly was like, wow, he pulled a lot of the weight.
Yeah. And I really appreciate that Luffy knows that, because there are times where it can feel like sometimes a main character doesn't seem to give a person credit entirely. And I really felt Luffy when he says, like, how many times do you have to save me? I was just like, oh my God. I won't go so far as to say that Luffy is like humiliated by having to accept the help, because he's not like that. He doesn't have that particular kind of ego, really. No. It's more a sense of like, you shouldn't be having to do this over and over again. Like, it's an injustice that you keep being put in this position, which it is.
Absolutely.
Frankly. Like,
yeah, but Bon Clay is just like that. Like, he accepts it and he does it. And like, honestly, what a great character in fiction in general. Like, honestly, my love for this character is so beyond. Like, he is, in the series, one of my favorites, including all the Straw Hats. You know, even if I have to make like a top 10, Bon Clay is somewhere in there for me. He just is. Like, including all the Straw Hats. Like, some Straw Hats will get ranked lower than him for me. And if you want to add me, then do it.
I fully agree. I really do. And it's not like some of the Straw Hats, it's not even like, I don't think you're important or anything. It's just like, I'm just so invested in Bon Clay and what's going on with him every time he's on screen. I'm always just like, you know, which is part of what's so surprising that I didn't notice that he wasn't with them, because I have been paying very close attention to him specifically. So the fact that I kind of like overlooked the fact that he was gone, I was surprised at myself. I was like, wow, you really fucked up, girl.
Yes, same. No. And again, this does not mean that we dislike any, or at least for me, that I dislike any of the Straw Hats, but honestly, this show has just so many great characters, so
I really wonder how much Oda knew that Bon Clay was going to be so, I don't know if I want to say he's beloved because I don't know. I'm not in the fandom. Is he beloved?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
It's like to be honest, he's the kind of character where I don't know anybody talking bad about him.
Okay.
Like, honestly, he's just look great.
Because, I'm really curious about whether that's part of the reason for the change in tone with the way that he became less the butt of the joke and just became part of the joke, is that like Oda realized, everybody actually likes this guy. And so maybe I don't want to make him somebody who keeps getting screwed over or made fun of because people are kind of defensive of him and he didn't see that coming, I don't know.
I feel like this has been mentioned before in the chat, but it has been so long ago. In Japanese, the voice actor for Bon Clay is the same voice actor as for Frankie.
Okay.
And the reason why that is that Oda was like, this voice actor is amazing. Like, Bon Clay's voice actor is amazing. I need to create another character that will be part of the Straw Hats so he can be part of the crew, basically. So,
okay.
So Frankie was sort of not inspired, but it was like circumstantial with like, Oda needed a character that can be voiced by this amazing voice actor. So that's why Frankie came around. Like,
can
it's not the
you
only
imagine
reason.
doing such a good job that an author is like, I am literally writing a character specifically for you? That is so much pressure. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm just over here like, oh God, I could never. Like, amazing and obviously killing it. Like, Frankie's a fantastic character. But that's a lot of pressure. Ooh.
Absolutely. but I don't know, like, it's always, I don't know if Oda thinks about these things, when I'm writing, I try not to think about these things too much, I'm just kind of like, if a character needs to come back, then I'm just like, it's more like, okay, I need some character here that fulfills this role. Do I have introduced somebody? And then if somebody's there who kind of fits the description, I will reuse them. And if not, then somebody new will be invented.
Right.
But I don't know if that's how Oda goes about it.
Yeah, I'm really curious. Like, I just want to pick his brain now.
Absolutely.
I want to pick his brain for lots of reasons.
Coming back to the early beginnings of you covering the show, like in every second episode, you accused him of using drugs.
I stand by that.
Yes. Same.
It's giving Lewis Carroll high on whatever it is they use to make hats. What was it that Lewis Carroll smoked opium and he created the Mad Hatter because hatters use lead or mercury to make hats? Do you remember this?
I know that, like, I know the gist of it, but I don't know it in detail.
I'm going to have to look that up because that's going to bother me, but I won't do it now, I promise.
Yeah. So, another small question. Did you have some tears for Bon Clay or no tears?
My eyes watered. I didn't cry, but I definitely was in my feelings. I would have cried if it weren't for knowing that characters don't really die in this show. But because I knew that, it sort of kept me from completely imploding. But it was really, really effective. The whole scene, and the fact that even up until the very last moments, he's just telling Luffy to save Ace and don't look back. And basically what he's saying is, don't worry about me. Put me out of your mind. You need to get on with what you're doing. And I really loved that just because it's like he could have been written as being like, what a noble sacrifice in this moment, and him like long suffering and saying, remember me, like in this way that I wouldn't have blamed him for at all, because as far as he knows, he is going to die. But the fact that he is right up until the end, all he's thinking about is Luffy's goal, the like total selflessness of that really, really got to me. He's just such a fucking cheerleader for Luffy. Like, he genuinely just wants Luffy to succeed because he cares about him that much. And I mean, it's not that Luffy isn't great, but to a degree, I feel like he didn't really earn that. It's just that Bon Clay has had nobody be nice to him. Well, really, like it feels like Bon Clay is somebody that has like wanted a friend, and finally a person was just like, I really like this outfit, or I really, and he was primed and ready, and just everybody around him sucked. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. First of all, okay, glad that you didn't cry, because if you cried, I would be like, damn it, I should have made it a voyeur episode. So,
yeah, no,
because that was a thought of mine. Like, should I make a voyeur episode out of this? But I didn't. But yeah, and the other thing, I get what you mean, but also, how do I say that? I do feel like Luffy kind of earned it, in the sense that it's not necessarily that he anything ever did for Bon Clay, but just like the attitude that Luffy has, that kind of, even back in Alabasta, it was like the thing that brought Bon Clay around was like that they were like, no, we have to say goodbye to a friend, and
yeah.
And he was like so touched by that. It was nothing that had to do with him, but he was like, just like, these people value the things that I value just as much as I do. And therefore it is worth it to basically jump into the fire for them in a kind of way.
Yeah, I like that.
That's at least the interpretation I
have. I feel like that's kind of like Luffy's whole deal, is just that he goes around with such general goodwill, unless he's proven to like that the person doesn't deserve it. That anybody who is receptive to that is just like an ally waiting to happen, because he's just very equal opportunity. Like, hey, we're all people, we're all in this together. You know what I mean? And I just really do enjoy, like, I felt like such a way about Bon Clay's whole deal, and I didn't expect, I kept saying in the first run through how much I liked him and how I wished that he wasn't a villain, because he was so much fun. And I am so glad that that's where we wound up, that like, I mean, I just really didn't see it coming that we were going to actually do this, and I am really hoping that this isn't the last time that we ever see him. I am gonna guess, because there's another 500 episodes. How many is there? There's a lot, right?
Yeah, that's about right. I think that the newest chapter that came out was 1100.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're like, it's somewhat about more than 1,000 episodes at the moment. I don't know the exact number. Yes, it is.
That is bonkers. Jesus Christ. My whole brain just melted.
Yeah. I'm just gonna, the place that we are right now in the story is just so revealing, and I cannot wait for you to get there, even though it will be a long time. It's just like for me at the moment, every new chapter is like, okay, throw out all the old theories and fuck all of my work for the past few years. No, not like it's like, but it's great. It's still great.
It's amazing to me just how quickly it happens too. Like, how long was it since my first episode? How many years has it been?
For you, about 2 years. Like,
okay.
In February is the anniversary for 2 years.
Wow. And I'm already at episode 400. Like, I know that I do multiple episodes and you guys skip the filler episodes and everything. But still, like, it comes on us quite quickly. Ooh. I'm already at 450. So I feel like it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah. Maybe this also 3 years. Oh my God, I don't even.
I was about to say, it feels like it should be longer than that.
Yeah, probably. I feel like it is 3, not 2. I feel
hold
like
on
it's 3.
Second. I'm gonna go in there and look at when the first episode got posted to Spreaker, because I think I can do that pretty easily. Because I'm just curious.
Yeah, because we cannot look at it in Crowdcast anymore because it changed to the new system. And
what? I'm sorry. I thought when I searched One Piece that it would show me them in chronological order according to when they were uploaded, and they're not. It's first 80 through 82, but then it's like 50, 53, 100. Why would you show it to me like that? That is so frustrating, because now it's making it that I can't just like scroll all the way to the bottom and see, because they're not chronological.
But I'm pretty sure it had to be 2021, because I re-listened, as I said, to the first episode, and I remembered like the first one that I guested on, I said like, yeah, last year has been such a shit show, so probably I was talking about 2020.
I mean, look, we would all love to think that whatever year we were talking about was a particular year, but let's be honest. Every year for many years has been a bit of a shit show. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Nah, that's fair. Just for different reasons. But
yeah, that's fair. All right, I'm going to go into Patreon now, because now, or wait, no, I can't do it. I can't like search there the same way either. Oh, this is so annoying. I just want to know a pretty simple thing. Well,
is it simple?
Because you're
the creator, but then again, you do so much. I feel like it's like difficult to pinpoint one like exact moment in your career. I feel like that's not something that is easy to do, to be honest.
That is something that I have run up against a lot, because I do so many shows and they're all like very different. And a lot of podcasters, they can say like, oh, I do this kind of show about this, or this is my theme song or whatever. And I don't have a theme song, because I just use the song from the show that I'm covering, if it's like a co-hosted one, or I just use like the song for Spoil Me's, but that's not like my theme. And, okay. I found a way to search it. Hold on. I'm about to tell you. One Piece episode 1. Oh my God. How is it going to just say March 1st? It only says March 1st and it doesn't say the year. Okay, you know what? I have to go into it and see.
Wait.
This is a whole thing now.
Wait, no. Wait.
March 1st, 2021.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yes. I could have looked it up as well. I have opened the spreadsheet with all the dates. That's just in another tab.
Oh my God, Florian.
I'm sorry.
I forgot about that though. I didn't even think of that, though. I have the Spoil Me spreadsheet, too, on my end. Like, I didn't even think of that. Oh, my God. So dense.
And I have, like, the whole freaking spreadsheet, like, right in the other tab. I just had to switch over there and scroll. But I'm sorry.
Oh, my God, you guys. Listen, between me, like, not watching all 3 episodes I was supposed to, and Florian with his like sound and camera problems and everything, I think we managed a pretty solid episode, despite our many, what's the word I want? The many obstacles in our path.
Absolutely.
And we still have time left because I didn't watch the 3rd episode. Is there anything that you wanted to discuss that was like maybe not to do with these episodes?
Let me think. Well, just tell me what you predictions, like kind of what you expect. I mean, we did not really talk about Ace at all, and this is kind of
that's true.
Like, what do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, the whole thing with Ace is sort of. So here's the thing. I get that Ace is Luffy's brother, and I care because of that, but I just don't really care about Ace particularly. Like, I don't have any investment in him because we haven't seen enough of him, and I am only really interested and invested because of Luffy and not wanting him to get hurt. And so I'm trying to just focus on that and not keep kind of going, but I don't care about this guy because I know that probably it will destroy Luffy. I'm going to admit this too. I am a little bit hung up on the fact that Luffy saw that his Viver card was fucked up and didn't do anything right away. Like, yeah, that kind of bugs me at this point. I know that he had like, I'm not even going to say he had a good reason. He had an excuse at the time that I was willing to buy, but I didn't really love it. And I think I'm on record saying that I found it kind of weird. And so now, like, the pursuit of him and trying to like save him, I don't think that this is actually how I'm supposed to be feeling, but there's a sense of like, I need to fix the fact that I fucked up a little bit.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Like, I mean, with the reason you mean that Luffy basically said he's on his own adventure and he probably doesn't want to get saved. Like, I feel like that's the kind of gist that he said the first time he saw this Weaver card.
Yeah, it was basically like he can take care of himself and he wouldn't want me coming to his rescue. Or, you know, just because he might be in danger.
Absolutely. No, I totally get that. I agree. For me, it's also like kind of more of an excuse than like actual reason. It is. Yeah. I mean, you could say that Luffy is just like not. That he maybe did not comprehend actually what that meant, because he's not necessarily the smartest guy, you know.
That's true. We love you, Luffy, but you know, you've got your limitations.
So maybe the context of him actually seeing and reading it in the paper, like in Amazon Lily, where he actually saw it was in the paper, like Ace is going to be executed. So that was like way more concrete, and maybe that's why he changed his tune. But I totally get what you mean. That, yeah, it is not. I don't know. I actually gonna put this maybe more on the writing. Maybe. I
think so. I think that he needed us to be like, oh, something's going on, but he didn't want to pursue it quite yet because he wasn't ready for that part in the story. And I really do think I am putting I'm putting baggage on Luffy that I don't think he really has. It's not actually in the text at all. It's just, if we were going to make this a more like nuanced, layered character, I would be taking it this way. And it is hard for me sometimes to know with this series, how nuanced and layered are we going to get? Because I will let my guard down and be like, oh, everybody is quite one-dimensional and it's fine. And then all of a sudden he'll just bust out with some like extremely emotional stuff. And I'll be like, oh, I guess we are doing that a little bit. So there are times where I'm like, you're really reading into things too much. And then I'll find out I was not. It was actually what I was thinking, you know?
Absolutely.
So I'm, for the record, saying that I don't actually think that this is like Luffy being driven by guilt. But if it turns out it is Luffy driven by guilt, I am going to feel like that makes sense. And, you know, I tend right now to think that's not actually what we're doing.
That's fair. And what you said about Ace, I also kind of know what you mean and agree. Like, it is more like for Luffy's sake. I like that we're like invested in this. It's not like that I dislike Ace or but we did not spend a lot of time with him, and therefore it was like we did not have a lot of chances to really fall in love with him as a character.
Again, I feel like, you know, he had a cool like moment, but it was back in Alabasta. That's the last time that like our people have spent any time with him, right?
Exactly.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. And however, I'm gonna tell you that there have been like popularity votes, you know, on like who is like the most popular not Straw Hat, the like cast member, how do you call it? Like character, that's what I'm looking for. And Ace like has, and I'm speaking like before, like we are speaking times where this was happening, or like last arc, you know, like, and Ace has always, since he was introduced, always placed at the top, like not at the very top, but in the top places. And I honestly, again, it's not that I dislike him, but I'm just like, he's really that high? Like, why? Like, some people like really love him, and he's super hot, like literally with his powers and his attitude.
Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't see that coming. Get off my show.
You know, and I'm gonna be honest, I was also like, he was like a little cartoon crush for me. But
I feel that.
But yeah, besides that, I was also kind of like, he's really that high in these rankings, like the rankings every year. Kind of surprising to me, but I was not bugged by it.
Look, I am going to go on the record right now being extremely derisive about those fan favorite character things. Because here's the thing. I just really always bring this up, and I know that at this point in the history of everything that Star Wars has turned into, this massive like multimedia thing, it's different. But there was a time when I had not yet seen the Star Wars films, and Owen made me sit down and watch them with him. And I did that on the podcast. That's like, I think those are episodes that are up for purchase, I think, but I have to check. I went, because all I had heard for so long from so many random fans was how cool Boba Fett was. Everybody loved Boba Fett. And then I go into the movie, and Boba Fett is nothing. He's literally just standing off to the side, and he gets given like an order. And then you see him in the next film, like for a few minutes, and I think he's got like a single line, and you never see his face. he doesn't do anything particularly cool. And then he gets eaten by the Sarlacc. And I was like, what the fuck, everybody? You guys talk about this dude. His helmet is one of like their merch for his helmet is out of control. You can get like snack bowls, mugs of his helmet. And this was before like they did the whole reboot and everything. And I, ever since, have lost all respect for fandom's judgment when it comes to side characters and why they think certain people are really great. And I have had that feeling about just like, I'm going to completely discount your opinion. I have had that reaffirmed so many times in the course of my career, whether it be like somebody on Doctor Who that everybody sounded excited about me getting to, and I did not see what the big deal was about. Or there are a lot of shows that have like giant casts that have people that kind of come in and out. And there would just be a sort of like tangible excitement about something. And I would be kind of like getting hype about it. And then I'd get there and go, really? This is it? So I'm just saying that it's not that I think that fandoms are stupid, although in some ways I do think that. It's more that we get like a taste of a character and then we just run away with these fucking like fanfics in our head, or they're hot and we decide a bunch of things, or they're awkward in a certain way that we think is funny and like associate with a friend of ours who's also really weird. And it turns into this like Tumblrification where people just write these little paragraphs about this character that didn't happen, but it creates over the years this affection that is not based in the fucking actual like text or film or anything. It's about the way things have grown around them because of fans. And so then they get really attached to this character and you come into it and they think you're going to like, they don't remember this person. None of that's real. You guys like absorbed all of these little scenarios or TikToks or whatever over the course of time. And this nothing character has developed into somebody. And so they forget. And then you come into it as a completely unspoiled person and it falls flat. And they're like, well, okay, well, what you have to remember is, and then they try and explain it to you why it's like this person's really popular. And always the like explanations of it are about things that aren't actually canon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all this to say, I am not surprised that Ace was voted really high because he's Luffy's brother. So he's like assumed to be like a pretty decent guy because of the fact that he's Luffy's brother. He's got a cool power that's extremely powerful. He's hot. He is a lone wolf, which anytime that you have a character who just sort of wanders on their own, not that he isn't associated with a crew, but like we don't see him with a crew usually. He is usually on his own. That gives them a lot more of a mysterious quality, so we can like decide all sorts of things about the way that they work. And that just really inflames our imaginations. And I think all those things together, it's like that was the deal with Boba Fett. You know, he had this cool armor that was very specific looking. He's a bounty hunter, which sounds kind of like glamorous and dangerous. And he is here for a moment and doing some things that seem pretty badass. And so people just decided, okay, well, and probably, I don't know this, but I'm going to guess that there's like a lot of Star Wars novels out there that were written about him because he started to be of interest to people. So one could say that there is stuff in canon at this point, but I don't count the novels just because I just don't. So yeah, I am not trying to say that people are like being stupid. I'm trying to say that fandoms forget how the canon comes across and they get very wrapped up in their own narrative. And I think that I could see easily how that would happen with Ace, somebody that I'm just kind of like, whatever. And a very long time fan would be like, oh my God, I love him. What do you mean? And I would just be like, granted, you probably have been farther along in the series also, so you know more about what happens with him than I do. So I don't have that kind of investment, but
yeah, well, I always, agree with everything you said. Just like
you're just saying that because it's live.
Maybe. No, I'm just gonna full disclosure. I get what you mean with the Star Wars thing, but I did not have like this connection to this whole fandom, so I cannot speak to that. But I get the gist of it, and the Ace thing, or like when I speak about these things with you, I always speak with in this point of the story, because I have been watching this show for so long, so I try to recollect what was I thinking and what was like the zeitgeist of the time, in the fandom,
which I appreciate, because not everybody is able to do that, to keep in mind like at this point how was it, and that's like crucial to not spoiling me in some very subtle way.
Absolutely. So, well,
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about how when we finally watched those movies and I was like, that's it, that's who Boba Fett is. Owen cracked up because he never really bought into the fandom with Boba Fett and found it very strange. So he knew that I was going to kind of feel the same way, and he felt so validated and was just like, thank you, I don't get it either. And then they made a TV show, and even the show isn't like about him. It's like, it's like 55% Boba Fett and 45% a lot of other people, which,
No. Well, they have to fill the space somehow.
They do.
Well, okay, before we end this, just a general question. Will Luffy be able to save Ace? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody dies on this show.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what. If he doesn't, I will never stop laughing. If this show doesn't kill anybody ever, and then they just kill Luffy's brother, that is going to be hilarious. Like, I know that I'm being really mean, but that would be such a baller move to just, okay, you know what? Now we're doing it. That would really catch me off guard. I don't think that's what we're having happen, but just the thought of that is really funny to me.
Oh, such an asshole move. Like, not from you, but from the author, Like, nobody dies. Like, literally, explosion, like, atomic explosion happens, but this character, no.
Right, like, the only thing that I could picture going a different way is still that he gets saved, but that it's not Luffy who does it. Like, he fails, but somebody else steps in, like his dad, who we've heard about but haven't seen since Logetown, pretty much.
Exactly.
So that's really what it comes down to is I think Ace is getting saved. Whether it's Luffy that does it, I'm going to say it's like 90% that Luffy will do it. But I just can't. I'm gonna once I finish the series, I'm gonna start writing fan fiction, and I'm just gonna kill so many characters just to be like, now we've got stakes. What do you think of that?
Well, I feel like the live action will probably.
That's true.
They have been like killing off more people, and it works. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you're right about like it's like side people, but that's the point, is that even when side people didn't die, I was like, okay, well then I'm not worried about anybody. And I can't remember who it was, if it was Seraphim. Somebody was in the chat saying that the Birdman in Alabasta, they're like, okay, I think he's actually gonna die for the live action. I was like, yes, agree.
Yeah, that was the atomic bomb thing I said.
Yes. I feel confident on that one.
Yeah. I feel like I've probably spoken about this before, I don't know. We don't have so much time left. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Go ahead.
But I just always, how do I say that? Like when I don't feel like killing a character makes the story automatically better.
100%.
And just the idea of keeping, like, when a character dies, for me, it needs to have an impact or meaning.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if Pell would have died in this explosion and everything, that would have been great because he saved everybody, like it would have a meaning behind it.
Yes.
I one time watched this show, and to be honest, I don't know what it was. It was like this super bad show that just was on the TV. And basically the season finale was kind of this guy, like, who was always like a bad guy, kind of. When he was on the good side, but like a Snape, like.
Okay, so he was like an ass, but yeah, okay.
On the good. And then at the end he was like, no, he's going to sacrifice himself, and I don't know, like he blew himself up with the monster inside the building, like the whole shebang. And you were like, yeah, great. And then he did nothing. The monster was still fine. It was like,
oh.
But he died, and I was just like, I don't need that. I don't need people just dying.
That's kind of hilarious. They were looking for a reason to get rid of this guy because he was not testing well with audiences anymore.
Yeah, probably. But if somebody dies, I want there to be a meaning and like a character arc. I just need something. Just death alone is so boring. I'm sorry.
I fully agree. That's actually something that I've said before as like a kind of weird trend that we got into for a little while after Game of Thrones got popular, was because that show was so brutal and so many characters that you thought were safe wound up dead. There were so many writers, both in like novels and TV, that decided, what people like is characters dying and that there's tons of like violence. And they completely misunderstood that, like, no, what we like is that there are actual consequences for characters making bad decisions, because otherwise, like most shows, people have plot armor and you're like, I know perfectly well this is going to work out because reasons. Mm-hmm. And you didn't have that with Game of Thrones. The deaths of certain people who were very high budget actors who were brought on, people were genuinely shocked when they only lasted one season and then had their head cut off. So I think that we wound up in this weird period where a lot of TV and movies and books went too brutal just for the sake of it, thinking that made it good. And it was just that's not the point of it. So yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah. And another thing is just like, One Piece isn't that. Okay. Like, people don't die. Okay. So if you really have that big of a problem with it, go watch something else, honestly. Not everything.
You guys know that. Like, it took me a while to like get on board with like, okay, that's what this is going to be. And yeah, I definitely agree.
But it has its place, like sometimes we want just something funny with like some emotions in it, but not the stakes of that everybody can die at any seconds. Like, we want something fluffy, even though it is not as fluffy as other things, but I hope it's clear.
I thought you were saying ass fluffy.
No. But
yeah, like I think the main issue for me always is, does the property seem to be aware of what its tone is? And One Piece, nobody ever dies. Fine. They know that. And they play it that way. Like, this show does not take itself super seriously. It has serious moments, but it doesn't take itself seriously. Versus the go-to example that I always do these days is Doctor Who. Doctor Who took itself really seriously sometimes. And it pretended it didn't. It would have moments that were like, oh, isn't this funny? But even within that, it was still very like, we're so clever, instead of admitting like sometimes our shit is nonsense and makes no sense. And I would get very frustrated watching that because they would create these big, supposedly heart-wrenching plot lines. And I knew the whole premise of this show is that you can just go like undo it all. You know, there'll be time travel, or there will be some weird like cosmic gadget that you can undo the thing, or you could just like all of a sudden he has a bracelet that teleports him out. And that was what I would get so frustrated with, was like, that show is hella goofy and they tried way too hard to be like serious drama. That's not what y'all are. And you need to just come to terms with that and stop reaching for it, because it doesn't hit. At least it didn't for me. I know it has a lot of fans, so I'm clearly like, I am wrong objectively about how it is received because people love it, but I don't get why. I just don't understand the like fandom around it.
I have never watched it, and maybe I will someday, but so far.
I don't think it's worth it. Somebody out there listening to this is yanking their earbuds out of their ears, screaming at me. I stand by it.
Yeah, no, but that's definitely it. Like, the one example in One Piece I can think of is in Sky Island. I don't know if you remember, but this one guy saves Konis, his daughter, you know, from like a lightning strike from Eneru.
Right.
It's Papaya is the father.
Right.
And you think he dies, or like it seems like that he dies, you know. And then at the very end, he shows up, and it is a really comedic way. Like, they're like all crying, like, "Oh no, he's away, he died," and then he's just there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's really sad." And everybody's like, "What the fuck are you?"
I forgot about that. Oh my god.
You know,
that's what I'm talking about. This show knows what it is.
Yeah, he's just standing among them and be like, "Yeah, that's really tragic." And everybody's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
That is so funny.
So it knows that it is like stupid and fun, you know. Yeah.
Yes, that's all I want. Whenever, like, no matter whether something is serious or comedic, I just want it to remain consistent in terms of the tone. Like, a drama can be comedic, a comedy can be dramatic, but there has to be a stability to that. And self-seriousness is something that very few things I have come across really earn. So anyway, all right. Well, we are out of time.
Yeah.
But I think we did pretty good, all things considered. I'm sorry, guys, that I shorted you on an episode, but I promise I'll make it up to you next time. I'll talk about that episode on top, and I'll just do my best to like keep my discussion on topic and not wander off into tangent land too much.
Yeah, because that's not what we did for like the past hour.
We had time to fill. It was different.
No, I'm always here. I'm always here for that. Listen, I am here for the chaos and the tensions. Like, honestly, why else would I be here? I want to say thank you for having me, and for still covering the show and still enjoying it.
Thank you so much for coming on and commissioning it, and just like at this point, I don't even want to do the math on how much you guys have shelled out to keep commissioning this show, but you're helping me keep the lights on over here, so that is hugely appreciated.
No, it's a win-win for everybody, I guess.
All right, thank you, Florian, and thank you everybody listening, and we will be seeing you again soon with new episodes. Until then, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.